Your kids start.
All right, we'll start with questions from Coach Inge. Go right ahead, please.
Excellent, great.
Sit down, Coach. Sit down. Did your defense play as aggressive as you had hoped, or was the season opener, do you have to kind of scale it down still?
There are some things that we're still trying to work to make sure that we get squared away to continue to take the next step. But from an attacking standpoint, we were how we would expect it to have been for game one.
Looked like Javon Parker graded out pretty well. Young guy in that mix in the DL. What do you see in terms of his progression generally?
It's what you want for a young person coming into year two, where development and preparedness is really his best friend. Because the one thing that we're trying to show both he and his brother Armand is the ability that you really have, and if you continue to strain, often as you work hard and you play hard, somehow, some way, plays will find you. And that's exactly what he had a chance to experience here on Saturday. Him going out there playing hard, staying on top of his game from a detailed standpoint, and doing his job with respect to that particular call, he's going to be in a position to be able to make some plays.
We can look at the grading system from that Pro Football Focus, but your grades are going to be different. Who did you grade out well?
With respect to what positions?
Just anybody on the defense.
But who do we grade out well? Well, probably you all probably saw Carson Bruner. I would think would be someone who graded out well, but also Thule, 91. He probably graded out maybe just as good as anyone, and as well as Devon Banks. You know, that's kind of the three levels per position.
Coach, how satisfying for your defense? Let me rephrase it this way: with such a high-powered offense and expectations there, how satisfying for your defense to play a part in igniting and creating momentum?
Well, and that's the one thing that you have to have on good teams. Good teams, everyone has to be able to create a spark in some way, shape, or form. So in order for that to happen through us, it just continues to build confidence, because on our end, we're finally so happy to be in a situation where we're not having to play against our offense every day.
What is it about your offense that makes it difficult and then prepares you for any opponent?
Well, I think the one thing that we do a lot offensively is they do a lot of things that will challenge your rules, challenge your eyes, challenge the space, and you couple that with some elite talent and one person back there who's got the ball in his hand that's pretty good when it's coming out that left hand, that'll make the stress go through the roof for you.
Does his progression, his ability to stay in the pocket, then test the patience of your DBs and also maybe your linebackers to not overplaying and being overly aggressive?
Yeah. Only because, but you also know that you may think you have someone covered, but he has the ability to put that ball exactly where it needs to be, so it gives the offensive player a chance to be able to catch the ball. So we've had a chance to really work on, when you're at the point of attack, you have to really be great and be aggressive when it comes to you going after the hands of the particular receivers.
Did you see the impact from MJ in the middle that you guys have been hoping for?
Yeah. Obviously, he's going to require you to block him with two guys, and if you block him with one, he's going to be able to be in the backfield most of the time. So that was something that was very, very good to see, and I know our linebackers love when his butt is in front of them, because they're going to be free, being able to flow and be able to make plays.
Elijah Jackson and Devon Banks, it looked like Devon had a couple of really nice splash plays, and it looked like Elijah had a couple of missed tackles, missed assignments as well. Can you talk about those two, or if I'm wrong on that?
Yeah, no. It's kind of the ebbs and flows of a game. It was great to be able to see Devon Banks at the point of attack a few more times than EJ, and him being able to make his plays. And I think there were also some really good things that EJ did that no one really got to see at the same point. But we're definitely pleased with how those guys are playing, and it also shows a tribute to just some of the depth aspects that we're able to build in some specific positions when you have some guys who can come in and be able to make the plays that they're supposed to make.
Is Tua Taylor dinged up? I don't think he played Saturday.
It literally he got a little chipped here, basically to start off the game, and it's something that if everything was on the line, he potentially could have played. But I think what we wanted to do was just to make sure, hey, let's try to get through this and see how things can work out for you.
So
But,
he was in uniform on the
yeah,
sideline?
yeah.
You mentioned Carson, but in terms of your linebacker room as a whole, how did you feel like those guys performed?
I feel like everyone played very well. When you have a chance to, we played 6 guys, and the funny thing is probably one of the guys who played the best was the true freshman Devin Bryant, when it comes to production per play, and knowing what we're getting from Raylan Goforth, he is someone who's literally like jumping on a trampoline when it comes to him being able to get his performance up to the level where it needs to be, and we're so happy to be able to have him on the team. And when you have, Captain Edifon Ulafosio and the what we would say the veteran of the defense in Alfonso Tupatala, all those guys played pretty good. And obviously good enough to win and good enough to be able to drive our defense and put us in positions where we can be able to be successful on each down.
It didn't look like there were a lot of targets that were going Jabbar Muhammad's way. What did you see from him in his first start?
Oh, just great, consistent play. And that's the one thing that we would require from him and all the guys. All we ask for is just you be consistent on your given down, trust in your abilities, trust in your coaching, and when you're at the point of attack, do your job.
Looks like Tulsa's going to run a freshman quarterback out there. Just what stands out on film when you guys take the first look at them?
Yeah, just athleticism. And the one thing that we know, we have a high level of respect for the offensive staff, the offensive coaches, and the program that Coach Wilson does there. I've had a chance to work with him for 4 years. So he is literally, truly one of the best offensive minds in college football. So he's going to have some things ready to be able to try to slick us up.
Working with him for 4 years, seeing that offense every day, what are the key tenets of a Ken Wilson offense, would you say?
An offense that runs the football. You run the football and you take shots down the field. If you're pressing the corners or pressing with corners, ball's going to go down the football field. And I know that's a pedigree of him because he knows 2 good things can happen. One is going to be a catch, the other is going to be a pass interference.
You had 1 sack and 2 turnovers. Going into a game, do you have a goal, like a specific number that you're looking for each and every game on?
Yeah, on our end, from a takeaway standpoint, we'd like to try to get 2 takeaways per game, minimally. And sometimes the sacks may not equate to everything that you want, but we had 12 quarterback pressures in the game. So when you look at 1 interception came off of a quarterback pressure, and other errant throws came off of quarterback pressure. There were some PBUs and tip balls that came off of quarterback pressures. So we're having a chance to really influence some of the throws with some of the pressure that we're getting in the backfield.
Is 12 a good number?
12 pressures, that's pretty good out of 47 throws, yes. Now what we have to be able to do is to convert some of those into some sacks.
Did Boise State try to take your edge rushers out?
Yeah.
Double team?
Yep, and it's something that you just have to be ready for. We feel as though they did a good job of being able to chip and try to double the guys on the edge. But the thing that they did well is they tried to manage everything by getting the ball out on time.
Did you feel like, in preparation for the game, now looking what happened, that nothing jumped out that you felt you and the players weren't prepared for, and were things?
Yeah, it's one of the unique things that you always have to deal with when you're coming into week 1, to where you have to have your players ready for every scenario. So our level of preparation was this big in everything. And we told them, hey guys, you'll know after the first quarter, this could be eliminated, this could be eliminated, and this could be eliminated. And that's kind of exactly what occurred. There were a few things that we really had to adapt and adjust to out on the field. Was some of the 2-back things we thought it could happen, but just wasn't sure, and that became a big staple for them. So we had to make our adjustments accordingly.
Anything else for Coach?
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Yep, thank you all. Go Dogs.
Good morning.
All right,
How are you doing? Had to make sure.
How do you feel the offensive line held up with the different units you guys ran out there against Boise State?
What's that?
How do you feel the offensive line graded out after the Boise State game? Just kind of how did you see Parker's initial game and both the left side of the ball?
I thought they did a good job. I thought they made some good in-game adjustments and protection. Boise challenged us with a few things early on in the football game, and I thought that was going to be more of one of the questions than anything is how they were going to be able to respond to some of the different pressures and things that we hadn't seen on film. Would they be able to adjust in the game? And I thought they did a great job with that.
Ryan, we've seen Jalen McMillan's arm in 2 of the last 3 games. We might never see it again, but he was
What?
He was a fielder in high school, like all of his life. Was there a certain point where you realized, oh, he can throw the ball?
Yeah, like literally the first day I saw him on the field, he was playing catch, and I was like, wow, this guy is like legitimately can throw. So super talented player, and probably as much as anything, though, you saw what he did with the play. They sat on top of it, and he had to check it down, basically. And that's special. It really is. Like a 9-yard gain that you're like, that was one of the coolest plays of the game, that you can trust your guys with a play like that to make good decisions. So I thought that was an elite play.
Was there a wide receiver over the top there that he?
So, no, it was really Westy.
Okay.
And, they were sitting on top of it, and Westy just bent the route off, and J-Mac drilled him. So 2 really special players doing cool stuff.
Prior to the Apple Cup last year, had he been like campaigning for like, hey, give me a?
No, he really doesn't. Because he knows every week I'm probably looking for something.
Coach, with Boise State's run defense, you guys kind of struggled running the ball, at least early on.
Mm-hmm.
What were they doing that was throwing you guys off a little bit?
Oh, honestly, they did some good things, but really a good portion of it, at least early in the football game, was self-imposed. We just mistargeted on some run fits, and should have been some pretty easy hits for us. And then we obviously got super aggressive in the pass game and didn't have to come back till later. So, but I thought we cleaned up, a couple looks there and did a good job later when they got the opportunities.
That pass to Jalen Polk in the third quarter.
Yep.
Right in front of me. I don't know if it was impressive to you up in the press box. It was to me on the sideline, but it was perfect. Can you break that play down a little bit for us?
Yeah, it was. It's kind of honestly a base play for us, and a play that Mike was looking for throughout the course of the game, and we got the coverage specific to that play that we wanted, and we're able to manipulate the safety a little bit and put it over the top. So that was a good clip to show the guys on Sunday, just thinking about some of the preparation and when we do get the opportunities and the looks that we want, that sometimes you only get one shot at that and making it count. So those guys work really hard to make it look that easy. It's certainly not that easy, but they work a lot. If they miss that throw in practice, they'll be there after practice and, trying to get it in to make sure they don't miss it in the game.
Mike didn't miss much, but he did miss one to J-Mac on
Yeah.
15. And curious whether there was conversation on the headset after that. I know that he said, okay, I need to get one to J-Mac, and he did on the next drive. But
Yep.
what was the immediate reaction to?
No, Mike's ownership on that was fantastic. He just, felt like he could have set his feet a little bit more maybe and make the throw, and he just missed. It's not very often that 9 does miss, but that was one of them. And, really, I think he had I had 4 throwaways as far as incompletion, like true him getting out of the pocket, and it's one of the rules in the quarterback room, throwaway is okay. And Mike made some good decisions on that on Saturday and took care of the football and has always done a good job of that. So, you look at 4 to 5 incompletions that were, true throwaways. It was a pretty good day.
Do you think that you saw the progress that Bill Dixon has made over the offseason on Saturday? It seemed like he maybe had a little more burst to him.
Yeah, no, Will is and stronger too, right? He definitely has put on some weight, and you saw him, break a couple holes in the tackle or in the B gap that I thought was really good. Safety comes running down in there. I think it was the corner was even in there, and he ran through both those tackles. So I don't think that was a play that last year that Will would make. And just better knee drive, stronger kid. I think he averaged almost 6 yards a carry or something like that. So it was good. Will definitely had a good showing out there.
How do you feel about just that group as a whole? Obviously, it wasn't a lot there for Dylan on his tries, it seemed like, but just kind of trying to sort through the rotation there.
Yeah, we're still trying to find our own there, and definitely still kind of feeling the loss of CD, if I'm being really transparent. And that room is working really hard and realizing that practice reps count right now, and that we're still trying to find out who the leader is in that room and who's supposed to be the guy. So I thought Will took a big step forward, and Sam Adams got a few reps, probably see him a little bit more, but still working through that. So we got to have a great week of practice, and we got 3 days to figure that out, see who we want to get the ball to a little bit more.
Like you said, I mean, Sam was clearly the third guy in terms of snaps.
Yep.
What had he done to put himself in that position?
Sam's a complete back. That's one of the things I think that 28 brings to the table is he's really improved on his pass protection. He catches the ball well out of the backfield, and he's got good vision, and he's a smart kid. He understands, the playbook and things like that. It's really always been health with Sam. It's just his own limitations that have held him back. So, when he's healthy, we feel like he can contribute and be a part of the offense.
How close is Tybo to maybe getting a shot or working his way back to getting a look there?
Yeah, he's getting there. He's doing a good job. He's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. He also, just continue to work with pass protection. That's always typically a struggle with young backs is just, figuring all that out. And he's getting better every day. So we're close, and I do think he can be a factor in the run game.
How about Brailsford grade out?
He graded out really well. He was one of the top O linemen. Him and Teo probably had 2 of the better games. I know they all played pretty well. Roger, I think, had a pretty good grade. And but Parker did a great job for first start. I thought between him and Teo and the type of, role that they both had in the game, I thought they both were the guys that, in my mind, kind of stood out. I know Teo didn't play a perfect game, but I thought he called a good one and for the most part was on point and was very physical on the inside.
Are the 2 left guards really close now? They were an or going into the game and kind of split the reps. Are they still neck and neck?
They are. I thought they both played well. I think that there are some things that both of them did kind of boosted their case. I don't think anybody hurt their case, I guess is what I would say. I think they both played really well. So that's a blessing. And again, practice matters, and the guys will continue to be evaluated week to week.
With the McMillan running touchdown, talking to some people afterwards, it sounded like maybe that was a little bit of a struggle in practice. Like you guys hadn't quite hit it that way.
Yeah, there was
adjustments there.
Yeah, no, I think there's plays like that as a coordinator, you have to decide how much squeeze is worth it. And I felt pretty strongly that play was going to be worth it based on what we'd seen, and so stuck with it. And there's just some mechanics that go with a play like that it looks super easy, but there's the cadence part, there's the motion timing, there's a receiver reading a kick out and a wrap block by a guard and a tackle, and but you believe in the guys. That once J-Mac gets the look and he just gets a few reps at it, he's going to be okay. But we certainly had to rep that a little bit, and it ended up, it doesn't always work that way, but that one was worth the squeeze.
It feels like there are times where Jalen Polk might fly under the radar a little bit because you have J-Mac and Rome on the outside. What's it like just having that guy as the third receiver in your offense, really?
Yeah, it's a blessing, first of all. JP is one of the toughest, strongest kids we have on the football team. I mean, you come out to Sunday practice, and you'd be shocked how hard he's running routes. It doesn't look like he just played a football game. And so that type of mindset, leadership, and ability, is we know that when the play has to be made and the ball's going to come his way, JP's going to make the play. And so having a guy like him that could be a one almost anywhere is truly a blessing. But like I said, it doesn't mean, there's going to be plenty of times where the ball can't go to Rome and J-Mac, and whether it's JP or Germ, they'll be ready.
Coach, when you put Dylan in, you had 49 points on the board and beautiful pass to Josh Cuevas. Can you maybe explain how you do that? Some people would say that was running up the score, and you're going to say you need to get your guys work. Can you talk a little bit about your mindset and how you deal with those situations?
Yeah, I think you got to, obviously we're not trying to make play action passes, shooting the ball down the field, but that was a true RPO throw, and they cut a guy loose, and Demo just read the play. So it really wasn't, necessarily trying to run the score up or anything like that. It was just a base run play that we had in our red zone that I felt like was a good rip for Demo to try to hit.
We talked to Will Nixon after the game, and he didn't say the play, but he said there was a play that could have been like a 50-yard touchdown if he had hit it a little bit differently. And I'm wondering if you felt like there was a lot of meat on the bone in terms of just the running game, hitting things a little bit differently, or maybe being a little bit.
Yeah. I think that's an accurate assessment. I think there was for sure 4 runs that I definitely felt like we left explosive plays on the board there where we just might have missed the cut or the read that they could have been pretty big hits, and 2 of them really big. But I think that shows a lot of maturity by Will as well, knowing that there's a couple there that he probably could have hit a little differently. And they just got to keep learning and getting reps, and, practice is great, but those game reps and timing is so critical.
That throw to Jalen Polk down the sidelines, we were commenting afterwards that it was one of the prettiest throws we've seen. Is that something that Mike Penix does every day? Talk about how hard it is to make that throw, because you had a guy coming over the top and you had a guy out trailing.
Yeah. Mike does make those throws every day, and I'm not just saying that, he does. I thought that was probably Mike's most impressive throw. And there's things that even, people look at Mike like this guy that's supernatural and he does all these things and it just looks easy for him. I thought that throw, sliding to his left, finding green grass in the pocket, quickly resetting his feet so he can make an accurate throw, shows the evolution of Mike. People ask, is he going to get better at stuff? I thought that was a great indicator of how Mike's game has come along, because right there, most guys would have just continued sliding to their left and slide through the throw and potentially have an inaccurate throw, and that was a perfect ball. He couldn't have thrown it any better, and he had, as you mentioned, some leakage from his right side, so he quickly escaped, found green grass, set his feet, got his cleats in the ground, and launched it. And I thought that was just a good look at all the work that Mike's been doing to get to the next level.
It seemed like earlier in his career, his nature would have been just to take off on that player, as you said, just kind of continue out of the pocket. Was that something that you saw last year that you wanted to have him maybe be a little bit more patient and stay in there, or was that something that's just been kind of his evolution from?
No, I've actually, if I'm being honest, I think from the day Mike's got here, I feel like he has always been, I can't speak to necessarily his time at Indiana, but I feel like he's always been a throw-first guy. And I think that as he's looking at the field, he's always thinking about how to solve the problem with his arm and complete the play. And so I think that, if anything, it might be the other way a little bit, where you're looking at him to get out of there. And I thought this spring and fall camp, Mike did a good job of finding those opportunities to leave the pocket. But I think, he's tough. He'll hang in there, and he'll try to make the play with his arm for sure.
Was there a play before the ball was snapped when you knew the play and you saw the defensive alignment where this
JP and Jack Westover's touchdowns. Those were, I knew when they snapped it. As long as we had a good pro, it was going to be pretty good.
What made you know it was the
Just the coverage. Yeah, the coverage. And then once we shifted and saw where the secondary was at, and I knew we'd be able to grab the one low safety and Jack would be right up the seam. Those guys did a great job, though. Dev Cope had the perfect route. He's super disciplined to open Jack up, and then Will Nixon pulled the corner open. It was good team football on that one.
Ryan, in terms of week 1 to week 2, good to great type, all that, what's that messaging that you say to Michael in terms of, is it the individual plays, or is it just the overall game management?
I thought he did a good job managing the game, specifically taking care of the football in a couple tough situations. I think the push is always, Mike never really rides up and down on the roller coaster. So I think continuing to provide energy to the sideline and to the guys when it feels a little like, okay, what's going on? Why aren't we hitting on all cylinders yet? And just making sure that belief is stoked with a really hot flame, and they're feeling good on the sideline, and they know, the next time we get the ball, we're going to score, and just keeping that going. So I think he's improving at that all the time and just bringing that same type of energy to practice. So I love seeing that from Mike, and I know his teammates do too, because when Mike's operating on that level, everyone else is as well.
What do you think of
hard
Dylan
to
Johnson's?
teach a cerebral guy how to be, because you're saying he's always steady, so then to say, well, be a little bit more out, vocal and stuff, stay within yourself.
Yeah, no, you definitely want guys to be themselves. The players will certainly see that, if they're trying to be fake or someone else. You got to let Mike do it his way. And I just always tell them, just make sure they can feel you when you get on the field. And it's just how you move and how you take on situations, and you move from one spot on the field to the next. And you see that sense of urgency with Mike before the game when we're throwing RVAs and things like that. And he's running around to different spots. And the guys look at that, and all of a sudden the backup left guard's like, okay, that's how 9's moving. I got to move like that. And then it just turns into a whole mindset. So I think he's really doing a nice job with that and getting better.
How'd you grade Dylan Johnson on his debut?
Like you said, there was a few looks there where it was pretty tough sledding, where he needed to hold on to the ball. I thought, if I was being transparent, there was a couple plays where he was out in the open that he got solo tackled that I was a little bit disappointed that he, couldn't break free of those. And so is he. DJ is very critical of himself and, wants to be great in open space.
All right, we all set?
Thanks everybody.
I'll show you where the blue button is.
Because it didn't mean it.
All right, we'll go ahead and fire away questions for Coach DeBoer.
Good afternoon. Is it good morning still?
5:40.
Oh, we are. You're right. You guys got questions?
Yeah, the messaging, I kind of talked this with Coach Grubb there, just the messaging from week 1 to week 2, getting better and leaving week 1 behind, concentrating.
Yeah, I think that's always a big thing. Felt that over many years of coaching, week 1 to week 2. It's individual performances and little things, especially newer guys that are in your program, and now they got a good feel and confidence about. It might even be pregame routine. It's just different things like that, and it was smooth for us because there's a lot of continuity, staff and players, but. There's always just ways to make it better. And now we get to continue to work on a couple of things that showed up in the game, things to build on that were done really well, and things just to continue to address and stress in areas that we can improve. So I think week 1 to week 2 is always a big improvement.
Can you talk a little bit about, you get later in a game, at what point do you maybe feel a little more comfortable about, besides your normal rotating some of the younger guys in?
Yeah.
Do you have that little plan in the back of your head going in, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, after you've done it, when you've done it for enough years, you know, hey, the number one goal is to get out of here as healthy as possible. You want to get your guys some experience, the ones that don't get a lot of reps. It might even be an evaluation thing, but just guys getting experience and a good balance between that and, just not burning red shirts and things like that. A little easier to do now with the 4-game rule. So, you want to try to get a guy out there. Demo. I heard the question earlier about we threw a pass with him. We were 1 for 1, I think, with him, and you don't want to get him out there in a game mode and get a chance to execute as well. For when his time comes down the road. So just, there's a balance there because, we respect certainly Boise State. I think there is a place where you try to be your best and you challenge the guys to go out there. We work hard, our players work hard. And so let it rip once in a while too, as long as possible. But then there comes a point where, when the game's slowed down and it's under control, let's get out of here and stay as healthy as possible.
You guys went to Rome as your punt returner in the second half there, and Jalen, obviously, J-Mac had done quite a bit in numerous phases. Was that just to keep J-Mac as fresh as possible, or are you guys going to kind of rotate a bit, or what's the plan?
Yeah, we'll go back to J-Mac. Expect that, and we have a lot of confidence in him and Rome as well. And it's good to get a chance for Rome to field a kick. And he's done that before. So, we want to get more guys experience too. A guy like Denzel Boston might be out there at some point. Just more guys that you feel comfortable with. Just the different situations that pop up throughout the course of the year, or experiences guys can draw on. When their time's up a year from now. So that was nothing really to read into. Jalen has done a nice job for us last year, and did a nice job on Saturday. Maybe one that he could have fielded, that we felt, but that wasn't really anything to do with why we put Rome in there.
Do you find it ironic that the Pac-12 is kind of the talk of college football right now because it's come out 13-0 and it's got big wins over Florida and your big win and Colorado's big win and in the conference is maybe going to disappear? Is it kind of odd that all of this good stuff's happening with the bad stuff behind it?
Yeah, it certainly was a great week for the Pac-12, and I kind of think it was expected. Utah's the conference champions, and I know even with their quarterback situation, week one, they got a very good football team, and Colorado doing their thing, very impressive, and the rest of the teams that have a lot of consistency and continuing to grow and build, much like ours. It's going to be a really competitive conference season, that's for sure.
How do you balance the wanting to reward somebody like Devon Banks, who had a really good game, with also wanting to give Elijah Jackson the opportunity to play his way into the season and develop a rhythm and all those sorts of things?
We're going to need them all. It's more and more reps. We're just trying to get them and building more confidence. And I thought, Devon, I don't know if he stole the show, but he got those pass breakups and played really well. And, that's obviously something we're excited about. But again, there was a lot of things Elijah did really well too. And there's things we could have done to help him out a little bit better where it looks maybe a little bit rough on his end on a play or two, but he's counting on someone in another spot to help him too. So it isn't just on one person, but Elijah, I think, has come so far. And he went out there and played hard and played aggressive, confident, and he's got one game under his belt now, and I think that's a good example of those guys. Week 1 to week 2, gaining confidence, growing. But we're going to need that whole unit. Thaddeus got out there, did some things as well. Jay Green, so. On top of, I thought Jabbar just playing a solid all-around game. We expected that, and his experience, I think, showed up. He was right where he needed to be. Felt very comfortable with him. It looked like he was very comfortable out there. Just understanding, how to play our defense.
Health-wise, I know there's always going to be bumps and bruises. Did you come out healthy, or anybody concerned for week 2?
Nothing that I expect where anyone would be out or anything. Just typical football, like you said, bumps and bruises.
How did you assess the offensive line play in Parker in particular?
How did what?
How did you assess the offensive line play in Parker Brailsford start in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I felt pass protection was really good. Threw it 40, Mike threw it 40 times, I think, and so the protection was there. A lot of the big plays, I showed the whole team yesterday. A lot of those big plays are a result of guys winning, of course, on the perimeter, and Mike making a great throw. But he had a clean pocket in a lot of those, and a clean pocket, or just being able to, like Coach Grubb said, sidestep maybe a little bit, but really, keeping them off of Mike, other than the sack early, which wasn't necessarily all on the offensive line. And Parker in particular, just, really for his first game out there, I thought he played fantastic, and he'll continue to learn and grow, but the moment definitely wasn't too big for him. And I think as a unit, they played really well.
Is there any Durfee update?
No, nothing's come back. Yeah.
In terms of those couple screen hits that Boise had, was there any common threads on tape in terms of the way that you guys played that or approached it?
Just tied into some coverages that we had, and the looks that the way they executed, and we should be able to cover it. But it's just getting something. They ran it a few times, and we were more aware of it, certainly, as it hit a couple times. We stopped it early out of a different look. And so I can promise you it's getting worked on a lot this week and into the future. And so teams are going to be trying to dial that one up in from different looks and perspectives that they have within their offenses. So it's one of the few areas, right, that consistently showed up. 2 screens that went 98 yards, I think, combined out of 200 and some yards throwing. So I thought we did a good job in the pass game. Besides those, and we just got to do a better job seeing the screen develop and making sure that when we get a chance to get him down, we get him down, because we did miss a tackle on the second one.
On plays like that, screen to eliminate and mitigate some of that, is that, obviously it's the whole defense, but are there things that the linebackers should be doing or the safeties should be doing that they weren't able to do because of the look they got? Or?
No, it's just a combination of a few different things. They executed it well. First of all, they executed it well, and they got smart coaches too that understand how we're matching routes and things like that, and sliding the tailback out of there, understanding who's maybe the first key on the tailback, taking care of him. But that's football. We do the same thing offensively, and so. Just being aware, it's something that you don't see on film, and you're preparing as much for it. You prepare for screens all the time, but what that comes out of, what that look is might be different. And so we identified it again later in the game and snuffed it out pretty good. Kind of put a halt to that, and they never came back to it.
After looking at film, maybe a couple things that you were really pleased with and a couple things that you need to work on for this week.
Pleased that we went 5 for 5 on touchdowns in the red zone. That was something really important. We talked about being great in the red zone. We converted a 4th and 1, there on the goal line, and so I was pleased with that. I know it was late in the game. I thought that. Just third down conversions was solid, and I know we feel like we can even do better, but just stayed off the field there. So constant. I know the sacks didn't show up, but we were there. Taylor Green knew and felt that we were right there in his face, and even if we weren't getting the sack and getting him down, we were disrupting plays. So I thought that was pretty consistent, overall.
Saw a pretty good amount of McKellis Steen in the rotation at safety. What has he done this offseason to put himself in that position and gain your guys' trust?
Yeah, he's a really smart player. We felt that from day one, and I think now, with a little more horsepower, a little more speed, just through another offseason, combining what he is up here with the physical assets that continue to grow. He's done a nice job. There were some things that he'll learn from and things that he'll be better at, but I thought he played a solid game, and we feel very confident with him out there on the football field.
What's your view now, review the game, on what you got or didn't get broadly out of your running game?
Yeah, I think Coach Grubb said, we just mishit a couple, might be identification with the O-line. Sometimes it's just one block, sometimes it's just running through an arm tackle. And, we're just not quite there yet as a whole group, everyone in sync. I don't feel it's anything that we need to be alarmed about yet. Obviously, you can't keep making the same mistakes, but, they're mistake here, it's one thing here, it's one thing there. It wasn't the same thing that was popping up. So just everyone getting better. There's a different tempo to things, right? You practice hard, but you really aren't getting tackled all the time. And, just there's a different rhythm to it, when you get into games. And, it might even be how you get jammed, as a receiver coming off the ball. It's just a little bit more violent than it is when you're going against a scout team. And some of those things, showed up as well. So it was good to get out there, play the game. Guys, I think now have a feel of that first game, and that's why you'll see those improvements in some of those areas from week 1 to week 2.
What's your familiarity with Kevin Wilson? It doesn't look like you guys were on the same staff ever, but being in the Big Ten together, obviously, I have to imagine you know a little bit about him. Just what do you know about Kevin Wilson, his offense?
Coach Wilson. Yeah, know him just a little bit. Never crossed over with him at Indiana with Coach Inge did, but just nothing but respect. Know what he did there before I went to Indiana and what he had done offensively. He's been doing it for a long time and doing it at a high level, and he's gonna, I know have the Tulsa program head in the right direction like he already has, and they're going to be well coached, and he's just when I think of his offenses, it's get him the ball. He's going to want the ball, and he's going to call plays, and he's going to attack and be aggressive, and there's going to be some rhythm and tempo to it, and so we'll have to be ready for anything and everything.
You've got Tulsa coming in here, and a big change next year going to the Big Ten. Does all your non-conference schedules get just redrawn almost going to, with all of the new conference stuff coming?
Well, I think I don't think it's all, thrown out because we have contracts with those guys. It's Weber State, right, next year, and Eastern Michigan. And there's dates set up, and they're counting on those dates. And so, I think as soon as we kind of understand the Big Ten schedule, there's one date that we got to figure out yet to fill out our 12 games. I don't think it's something that's just this crazy, just switching things up. For the most part, we have, some games that are locked in beyond what the 9 games will be for our Big Ten schedule. So, but that will continue to develop and evolve, and there's a lot of shakeup around college football, right, with conference realignment and things like that. So there are things that we need to assume may happen, even if it's things that aren't in our control.
Do you get input on that, and would you advocate to play some of the former Pac-12 teams as non-conference opponents in the future?
Yeah. I mean, that was happening even before we went to the. We're involved in going to the Big Ten. At the time it had been USC and UCLA, and trying to find openings to play them and go down play in LA, right? And so now that's changed again with us being all in the same conference, and so I think that's makes for easy regional scheduling, and obviously the Apple Cup would be a part of that as well. So certainly I'm getting asked about it, but there's not a lot of decisions we can make right now. Just because we got to have some, understanding of what the Big Ten schedule and the model, and 9 games, and which years it's 5 home, 4 away, and vice versa.
So that LA stuff was kind of in-house thinking?
I mean, a lot of the schedules are full, but that was something that I know I was hoping to be able to do with a lot of our recruiting being in California.
Coach, I remember a couple of years ago watching Roma Dunzi pregame throwing the football, and I thought he's got a hell of an arm. At some point, we're going to see him throw the ball. How do you make the decision to let Jalen throw the ball as opposed to Roman? I know those two are competitive.
Yeah.
Is there lobbying going back and forth?
Oh, I mean, I know what Grubb said, but I have to think that it's in the back of Rome's mind, and Rome will let it come to him. But if Jalen all of a sudden has 3 attempts here soon, halfway through the season, I could see there being some of that, where Rome's, maybe in Grubb's office an extra time or two, walking to lunch or something like that. So, no, it's fun. Those guys are such super athletes and just smart playmakers. Jalen, it's just a small gain, but like Coach Grubb said, when you can call an explosive play that has the potential to be big and not worry about it just going so badly if it's defended well to where it hurts you, right? Because a lot of the times those plays are really good, but there's also some disasters that can happen. And we really trust, a guy like Jalen. We'd trust Rome as well, just to make those decisions. And Jalen and Westy being on the same page, not really even flinching. It's really cool to see.
You think opponents are going to freak out when they see Jalen McMillan in a quarterback role faking to Roma Dunze in what was a running back role?
Let me write that down. Good? All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great week.
6 minutes.
let's go out to the arena, we gotta talk about some shit.
Yeah, hello.